Hello! Today I'm going to talk about Kansai Gaidai itself and the program that I'm involved in. This will actually be a two-part video because today I want to just talk purely about the school itself, and then tomorrow I'll talk about the living situations that Kansai Gaidai puts you in. Kansai Gaidai is officially a college program for Japanese students so that they can better improve their English, but it also serves as a hub for international studies. Students come in from all around the globe and they come to live in dorms or in homestay situations. But we all take classes within the same building. While we're on the same campus as the Japanese students, we don't take classes with them more often than not. Sometimes there will be situations in which Japanese students take the international classes, but it's not readily open available at this point for us to do the same with Japanese classes. So the way the general schedule is worked out is from 9 to around 1 o'clock in the afternoon are the Japanese classes for the day. And then after that time are the English-speaking Asian-themed classes. And those classes run from around the time the Japanese classes end till 6:10. There are lots of pros and cons to the way Kansai Gaidai has their system set up. The most notable pro is that when you are taking your language class, you are speaking usually with a native Japanese speaker. While this doesn't improve your textbook experience by any means, it means that if you have questions or you want additional information about the language, you more often than not can get an answer. It also has the advantage over many programs that take place in Tokyo in the fact that you are in a region where dialect is spoken, and your teachers will actually know many of the rules about dialect. There's also the school cafeteria, of which there are two, and both of which have very tasty food. There's also a McDonald's and a convenience store, which we call a conveni. It's also closely located with all the dorms. It's only a half-hour walk and less than to ride there by bike. There are also regular buses that can take you to the school directly. However, there are some disadvantages to this system. As I said, you cannot take classes with the Japanese students, and it really hinders your interaction with the Japanese people as a whole when you're stuck in a building that we affectionately sometimes call the fishbowl. The reason being because while you're in there, you're mostly being observed by the Japanese students and not interacting with them, especially when a lot of the Japanese students are merely looking for people to speak English with. The second disadvantage of this program is the scheduling. While it makes sense to have Japanese classes all at the same time and then separate them from the English-speaking classes, the problem you get with this is while it's pretty normal for a college schedule to range such a time frame, it's not usually the case that all students are there at school for all that time period. But the problem is, because of the separation, many students are forced to stay from around 9 o'clock till 6 o'clock in the evening. Now, this isn't an inherent problem unless you consider the fact that we are here to experience Japan, and having to spend a huge portion of our day on campus, well, it hinders that a bit. Now, it's important to note that many of the professors acknowledge this. Most courses do not grade based on attendance, besides your Japanese classes, which you should honestly be going to. And a lot of the course's basic requirements for getting a C is showing up to class. Now, while that solves the problem of having time to go around Japan and explore, it does create a problem in interesting class discussion or content. A lot of the times we'll have very good readings for class, but because the classes are designed around us not needing to be there necessarily, it leads to a boring classroom environment. That's not to say all classes are boring. Sometimes there are very engaging classes when the material and students sync up and everyone is working together. But the system itself does not inherently create an environment where this is possible. There's also a heavy emphasis on testing for grades this way. Your performance in class doesn't matter, it's just how you do on these tests, which are essentially the core of your grade. And that applies to the Japanese classes as well. What it makes it feel like is that you are really here for these tests rather than your experience in the classes as a whole. And that makes it feel like a great portion of your day is wasted when you are spending such a long time at the school. All this being said, I have enjoyed the program quite immensely, in fact. I've gotten to meet lots of cool people because of the way it's set up. So by no means am I saying this to deter people from going to Kansai Gaidai. I'm just telling you some things that, if you are interested in such a program, you should be aware of. Alright, that's all I have to say about the school for right now. Tomorrow I'll have a follow-up video to this, talking about the living situation at Kansai Gaidai and how that affects the study abroad experience. So, I hope everyone has a good day. If you have comments, put them below. And, yeah, I'll put a link to Kansai Gaidai's main page in the doobly-doo. Alright, have a good day.